Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live. And I have a very special guest, Joy Kingsborough. And those of you who have been around for a while know Joy and I go way back. We created the Conscious Entrepreneur Collective together. We've created numerous events together to support transformation among change makers. And I'm just so happy to have you here to chat with me today, Joy.
Me too. I feel like we're letting people into our little private world of our, so hopefully we'll stay on path with what we want to say today, because it's so easy to just catch up and have so much fun when we're together. So
absolutely. And I think this is one of the fun things about this conversation is to share with you, people who are tuning in, catching us live, catching on the replay, a little bit of, kind of how those conversations go for us, and really what we are obsessed with and talk about all the time, which is navigating the unknown and moving through the changes that we're moving through right now, why they're happening, where we're going with it, and the tools we use to support ourselves as we navigate them. So if you're catching us, comment, say hi, let us know you're here, and we are so happy to have you. So let's just dive right in, shall we?
Yes, please.
One of the things that's coming up for me so much is we are in a time of immense uncertainty right now because of massive upheaval. And it's so funny because for many years, many of us have been asking for change. We've been saying we're part of the paradigm shift. We want to see change happening. We want to see people, moving through the world with different motivations. We want to see people led by their values, led by their heart. And now we're in this position with massive change unfolding. And it's easy to kind of freak out a little bit and say, oh my God, this is uncertain. I don't know what I'm doing. Help, right? Or what do I do?
Yes, help. Yeah. I love it. I was just sharing the video out. I'm like, I bet there are people on my timeline who would love to tune in with us. So I'm just going to make sure I get this shared.
Oops. Yes, please do. Absolutely. And for any of you who are catching us, if you have friends or viewers who you think would love to see this, please share it out or tag them in the comments so they can come back and catch this later.
Okay. Now I am present and fully here. I was like, oh, I can feel people. And I'm like, I don't want to leave anybody out. They're like, I didn't see you go live. Anyway.
Now they have.
So it's so good to see everybody. And so what is the, like, I'm thinking about what you were just talking about and how much trust we are able to have because of the tools that we put into place for these unknown times, and how the number one thing I hear from people over and over again is exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
The unknown.
The unknown.
Like, I don't feel comfortable in the unknown. The word makes me uncomfortable. I want to know how and when and why hasn't it happened yet and what's going on.
Just tell me what to do.
Right? Like, why hasn't this happened yet? And what's the thing I can do to make this happen right now? And it's always the go-to question that other people have, but us too, right? When we are in those moments where we catch ourselves in the unknown, I tend to find myself going, okay, what do I need to do? What's going on here? How can I know what I don't know? And then coming back to the numerology.
Yes.
Right. Coming back to, at least for me, for the most part, I love to see the bigger picture of what the heck is going on here. What's the goal of it all?
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes I see us as like running around a giant field playing a game, right? We're all running around, we're playing soccer, but sometimes we forget what team we're on.
Yeah.
And so then we're just like all over the place and we're like, what do I do? How do I get this in the net? Which net's mine? Which net do I want to be mine? Right. And then so having those tools allows us to step back and say, oh, I'm going this way. Mm-hmm. So this is what matters to me in this moment. And it's sort of like that anchoring back in for me.
Yeah.
And instead of getting the answer.
Kind of a bird's eye view of saying, well, here I am, and I see all these things happening in front of me, and these obstacles and these chaoses and these crazy things happening around me. And it's easy to kind of get caught up in that. But if we can step back and step up and see the bigger perspective or the bigger picture, like, to me, even just saying that is like, You know, it brings so much ease. But I love what you mentioned earlier too. You said something along the lines of, you know, I'm in so much unknown and I just want to know something.
Right.
And we as a society have been conditioned to think that if we're in the unknown and we're looking to know something, that we need to go find someone who's done it and copy them, right? That's what we were taught to do. That's where, you know, in school, in university, in all these places where we go to learn things, we were taught to look to the people who've done this before us and copy them. And, you know, well, there's a lot of validity and it's great to go seek out information. At the end of the day, the number one thing that we need to do when we're faced with an unknown is to say, what is my heart guiding me to do right now? What do I feel is right for me, especially in a world where we are creating something we've never created before?
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's like if we really take a moment, which I think is one of the hardest things about humanity right now at this time and in our experience, is that everything's moving quickly and so are we. And so taking a moment is so difficult, right? Like taking the moment to really step back. And I think by tapping into the tool of numerology, it gives us an opportunity to step back and look at things and evaluate and bring ourselves to the present moment. But in doing that, being able to see that pathway without the resistance to what is so powerful. And knowing that you can do that, like to take that moment and to take that space and to step back and anchor into a truth, allows us to show up collectively more effectively. And what I mean by that is, can you imagine if we all did what you were talking about, if we all did the exact same things? We would all be doctors, or we would all be musicians, or we would all be actors, or we would all be like, there would be just this cookie cutter version of life we were experiencing. And why would the universe or God or source intend that for our experience? It doesn't even make any sense to me. Like when you really step back, like why would we want that?
Why would we want more same? Why would
we want to go to the same movie over and over again? Right? I mean, I know some people do, but I'm not judging, but I'm saying I like a good new movie.
Right. Well, and, you know, that makes me just come back to the place of, there is a reason why we all have unique values. We all have unique desires. We all have unique passions. We all have different things we care about. The things that we care about, the things that matter to us, it's not an accident. We were made unique for a reason. And we're actually meant to honor and express those uniquenesses rather than trying to fit ourselves into the mold of whatever.
And I love that, because it makes me think about how, you know, we pay attention to the new moon and all the cycles. And there's a lot of craziness happening in our solar system right now. And that's powerful information. Like knowing what's happening to the collective is really powerful, but then being able to dive down, like dial into who you are and how am I going to experience that? So while Mercury's going backwards doing its thing, Saturn's going backwards doing its thing, the moon's all full, the sun's all eclipsed, all whatever, right? So all the things are happening, and how am I perceiving that? Because everyone is perceiving from a different lens. And numerology, I think one of the things that immediately hooked me, right? You know, so many years ago, I remember looking at it and going, oh, you mean I'm always going to want to do this when I get information. I'm always going to want to make it the next greatest evolution for humanity. Oh, that's in my chart. Like that's going to be my desire. I'm going to want to let go of the past and move forward into something else. I'm going to want to bring people to the ideal. It was eye-opening for me. Right? Because then I was like, oh, I don't have to apologize for that. I'm not putting my head in the sand. I'm being a visionary. That's in my chart.
Yeah. And permission giving for you to do what you naturally wanted to do anyways.
Right. You know, just to release any of those expectations. And I love that you said it that way, because numerology isn't telling you what to do. It just reveals to you what you already want. And then helps you with that sense of permission, almost like permission from yourself, from the chart you chose.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I really see it as a powerful tool to kind of unwind some of the conditioning we may have. Because I think back, in my numerology chart, it shows up that I'm the teacher. And I think back to some of the conditioning I received through my younger years about talking too much or being too bossy. This was totally the not enoughness stories that I, often would receive as a child and internalized. And so, when I remember when we first were going through my chart and we're like, oh, the teacher energy. And I was like, I don't know about that. Right. And that was the conditioning really speaking. And the more I sat with it, the more my soul recognized the truth of that statement and was like, wow, can I really give myself permission to own that fully?
Right.
And it's been a bit of a journey to do that. But every step I take in that direction, I feel more myself and more aligned and more in my natural state of thriving than I ever have before. And that to me is like, oh.
Yeah, it's a whole body exhale.
It is.
To stop holding on to the ideas that you think you need to do certain things, that you think you need to show up certain ways, that it's not okay that you speak, that you share, that you teach, that you shift, that you change things, that you help people anchor into this, that you navigate your gifts in the world. And yeah, I think that's my favorite thing of, I look at all the pieces that have really accelerated my growth over the years, going from super anxiety and depression to feeling really excited to wake up every day. If it wouldn't have been for numerology, the rest wouldn't have been easy. Right. Coming into meditation and the other things that I'm doing in the world and my, the work that I'm doing with my intuitive gifts and capacity, all of that was made easier because of the surrender to myself, the opening of myself, right? The trusting of myself, the trusting of that journey. So much so that when we were talking about your numbers, I was like, you are definitely the teacher. And it felt so, I was so like, yes, right. And we can do that for our clients, right? Which really leads me to, thinking about why I really, really wanted to come live today is I wanted to talk about our journey a little bit, if I can, because, you and we've worked together for a long time, but behind the scenes, I think a lot of people don't know how much has gone on behind the scenes and how much we have explored and played with and the hours we have devoted to understanding our charts together, right? That together we really developed numerology as an intuitive practice, right? Instead of a mechanical practice or a something outside of ourselves. I think one of the triggers I had early on was that people believed that the numbers were magic. And while I love magic, there was so much more. There was a science behind it, and it was a trustworthy science, right? It's something we could lead into. And you and I helped each other see that. Through the work we've done over these years. And, you've allowed space for the growth of my own journey with it, right? Where my role teaching that and mentoring the numerology has really shifted as a result. When I would channel a new course to teach, you'd be the first person I would go to. Right. So a lot of people didn't know that. I'd be like, okay, so this thing came through, Megan. Okay. So I think this is what's going on for you. Can we dive into? And I would play with you were the guinea pig for everything that then moved out into the world. Right. So you heard it first. And you really reflected what worked and what we wanted to tweak and what we wanted to shift. And you were I think that the other side of teaching, and your ruling number is a 7 and you are definitely the teacher. But the other side of that is your voracious desire to learn. And so behind the scenes, you have been learning and taking it in and practicing these tools and becoming extraordinary at trusting your intuition in order to bring this work to the world. And, that makes you an incredible chart reader, right? To be able to go and help people look at their own personality traits and uncover their purpose. But one of the things that I've loved watching over the years is you really step into teacher and to take on the role of teaching this material to others. And I have never felt the desire or trust in sharing what I've learned with somebody so completely that I'm like, yes, please take this work into the world. Please use this work in whatever way you want with what you've are bringing to it. And, like, I feel like I'm trusting you with a child, right? Like all these discoveries of like, here, go share it with the world. And I wanted to share that with people because while I honor everyone who is out there bringing this work out into the world, all of our students over the last several years, the collaboration we have has been very sacred, and you have an inside scoop that no one else has into this world, at least from what channels through into this material. So I wanted to express that to our friends and family and colleagues and clients as I can't imagine learning this material from anyone else but you. Right. So I'm really grateful that you're doing this and moving this work out into the world. So
that I'm just so grateful for our collaborations over the years, because I just know what a gift it's been for me to develop my skills and my strengths in collaboration with someone, because again, the 7 that I am works through practical, grounded, hands-on experience. And so as we've created different things together over the years, being able to have that, trying things out and experimenting and seeing what happens and watching it play out, and just it has been a sacred experience. That is definitely the word for it.
You've totally helped me step into vision, to be okay with vision. And then letting the world take that vision and create something even better with it, like bring it into the practical. And you've always been able to see that. Right. So, and I know that people who are tuning in who've had work with you know this already, but those who haven't, I just feel like I want to shout from the rooftops. If you have not worked with Megan, if you've not heard how she puts the details of all this information together, experience that. It's such powerful work to really anchor into that energy, not just have the idea of it, but anchor in and apply it into your experience. It's really beautiful.
Oh, I am just so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming on live today. And everyone who's tuned in, thank you for joining us. And if you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and plunk them in. We will come back and check in with you as we go throughout the day. But I'm just so grateful for you, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you.